Conversation Costs Phileas Fogg Dearly by Jules Verne. Phileas Fogg shut the door of his house at 11:30. He put his right foot before his left foot 575 times and his left foot before his right 576 times, and so reached the Reform Club. Here he made at once for the dining room that looked upon a tasteful garden. The trees were already burnished with the golden brown of autumn. Mr. Fogg sat down at his habitual table, where his breakfast awaited him. This consisted of a side dish, a broiled fish with sauce, a slice of roast beef with mushrooms, a rhubarb and gooseberry tart, a morsel of Cheshire cheese, and several cups of excellent tea. He rose at 1:13 and directed his steps towards a large room with lavishly framed paintings. Here he was handed a copy of the Times, which he proceeded to cut with practised skill. He read the paper till 3:45. Then he turned to the Standard and read it until dinner. After his dinner was over, Mr. Fogg reappeared in the reading room and sat down to pursue the Morning Chronicle at 6:20. Half an hour later, several members of the Reform Club came in and sat down around a coal fire that was burning steadily. They were Mr. Fogg's usual partners at whist, Andrew Stuart, an engineer, John Sullivan and Samuel Valentine, bankers, Gauthier Ralph, one of the directors of the Bank of England, and Thomas Flanagan, the brewer, all rich and highly respected men of the society. "Well, Ralph," asked Flanagan, "what about the robbery?" "I hope we can catch the robbers. Skillful detectives has been dispatched to the principal ports of America and the continent. He will be a clever fellow indeed if he can slip through their fingers." "But he's not robber at all." "What? A fellow who makes off with £50,000? No robber?" "The Morning Chronicle says he's a gentleman." It was Phileas Fogg who made this remark. The robbery had occurred 3 days before at the Bank of England. While the chief cashier has been engaged in registering the receipt of 3 shillings and 6 pence, banknotes worth £55,000 had been taken from his table. The Bank of England reposed a touching faith in the honesty of the public. There were no guards or gates to protect its gold, silver, or banknotes. When the robbery was discovered at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, detectives were hastily dispatched to Liverpool, Glasgow, Le Havre, Suez, Brindisi, New York, and other ports. A reward of £2,000 and 5% of the recovered funds was announced. All travellers arriving or leaving London by rail were closely watched. There were reasons for supposing, as the Morning Chronicle said, the thief did not belong to a professional group. On the day of the robbery, a gentleman had been seen in the room where the crime had been committed. A description of him had been sent to the detectives. Everywhere people were discussing the possibilities of a successful pursuit. The Reform Club was especially agitated as several of its members were bank officials. At the game table where Stuart and Flanagan played against Mr. Fogg and Valentine, conversation commenced between robbers. "No country is safe for this robber," said Ralph. "Where can he go?" "Anywhere. The world is big enough." "It was once," said Phileas Fogg in a low voice. "What do you mean by once? Has the world grown smaller?" said Stuart. "Certainly," answered Ralph. "I agree with Mr. Fogg. A man can now go around it 10 times more quickly than a century ago, and that is why the search for this thief will be more likely to succeed, and also why the thief can get away more easily." "Be so good as to play, Mr. Stuart," said Mr. Fogg. But Stuart was not convinced. When the game finished, he began again. "Just because you can go around the world in 3 months." "In 80 days, Mr. Fogg interrupted. "It is true, gentlemen," John Sullivan added, "now that this section between Rothal and Allahabad on the Great Indian Peninsular Railway has been opened. Here is the estimate made by the Daily Telegraph. From London to Suez via Monsones and Brindisi by rail and boat, 7 days. From Suez to Bombay by boat, 13 days. From Bombay to Calcutta by rail, 3 days. From Calcutta to Hong Kong by boat, 13 days. From Hong Kong to Yokohama by boat, 6 days. From Yokohama to San Francisco by boat, 22 days. From San Francisco to New York by rail, 7 days. From New York to London by boat and rail, 9 days. Total 80 days. But these 80 days do not take into account bad weather, contrary winds, shipwrecks, railway accidents, and so on, cried Stuart. All included, said Mr. Fogg, continuing to play despite the discussion. But supposing the Indians stop the rains? All included, retorted Mr. Fogg calmly. Stuart gathered up the cards and returned. You are right theoretically, Mr. Fogg, but practically too, Mr. Stuart. I'd like to see you do it in 80 days. It depends on you. Shall we go together? Heavens preserve me, but I will wager £4,000 that such a journey in 80 days is impossible. It is quite possible. Well, make it then. I should like nothing better. When? At once, but I warn you, I shall do it at your expense. It is absurd, cried Stuart, a trifle annoyed at the persistence of his friend. Come, let us play. Stuart started, but suddenly he spoke again. Well, Mr. Fogg, said he, it shall be so. I will wager £4,000 on this journey. Calm yourself, my dear Stuart, said Valentine. It is only a joke. No, I mean it, Stuart returned. All right, Mr. Fogg answered and turned to the others. I have a deposit of 20,000 at the Bearings, which I will willingly risk upon this. £20,000, cried Stuart, which you could lose by a single accidental delay. The unforeseen does not exist, was Mr. Fogg's quiet answer. But Mr. Fogg, 80 days are only the lowest estimate of the time this journey can take. A well-used minimum is enough for everything. You need to jump mathematically from trains to steamers. I will jump mathematically. Surely you are joking. A true Englishman does not joke about a matter as serious as a wager. I will bet £20,000 against anyone who wishes that I make a journey around the world in 80 days or less, in 1920 hours or 115,200 minutes. Do you accept? We accept, cried Stuart, Valentine, Sullivan, Flanagan, and Ralph. Good, said Mr. Fogg. I will leave by the train that leaves Dover at 9:15 this very evening. He took out a pocket almanac and added, Today is Wednesday, the 2nd of October. I shall be back in London in this very room of the Reform Club on Saturday, the 21st of December at 9:15 p.m. Otherwise, the £20,000 now lying in my name at Bearings will be yours. Here is a check. A memorandum of the wager was then drawn up and signed by the 6 men. Phileas Fogg preserved a quiet composure. He had staked only £20,000, half of his fortune, because he foresaw he would need the other to carry out this difficult task. The clock struck 7, and the party offered to suspend the game so that Mr. Fogg could make preparations. I am quite ready now, was his unhurried reply. Diamonds are trumps, gentlemen. Please play. Please like, share and comment on this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.